So Dr. Stone is seen by some as the father of energy medicine. And certainly for us, he is. He traveled around the world a dozen times seeking to understand. He was a healer, really seeking to understand the root of healing, really trying to understand healing. He felt that physics was discovering a world of energy, and he was seeking a healing art based on energy that would take the deepest insights of modern physics and put it into practice. And so he called it polarity therapy because the electromagnetic polarity was just on the basis of an energy model in physics. He traveled around the world some dozens of times, really seeking to understand, seeking a healing art, seeking to understand the mystery. They say his house was a library. There were books packed from the basement to the attic. He hosted every mystic that came to Chicago, his hometown. They wanted him to be head of the Theosophical Society there. The Kananda people tried to, just at different times, each group tried to enlist him. And it was fairly late in his life that he found his spiritual teaching that he was seeking. He was a devotee of Sharon Singh and Radha Swami. Meditation practices focuses on inner sounds, divine sounds, and follows the absolute. Pretty strict. Now, Dr. Stone was seeking the key to the healing process, seeking to understand the real root of healing, looking for a medicine that could really address the root of disease, generally speaking. And he felt that he found that in energy medicine. And he felt that the foundation of energy medicine was the mobility of the sacrum. And here I want to talk about life and talk about
that picture right next to him looks like a sacrum.
And talk about energy. And what Dr. Stone came to understand that where there's illness, the sacrum has been immobilized. That the pattern of pelvic tension has immobilized the sacrum. And in our model, we call our model a theomorphic model. Morph, the form, theo, create, that we personify the creative process. And in our model, the basic organization of the body as a play of resonance. The body is, again, a vehicle of biological resonance, bioresonance. And the basic organization of the body as an atom in the body of nature, atom in a cell in the body of Gaia, an atom in the body of creation. The basic organization of the body is that we personify the process of creation. And we all understand the chakras, these centers that help our body, where the energy of nature and the cosmos step down into our physical body. Well, the chakras embody a step down of energy from spirit to matter, from consciousness into form. And so here at the third eye, is we live in this ocean of creative intelligence, universal creative energy, prakriti, pra to go forth, vrit to turn, the spiraling out breath, the spiraling creative breath of a living creation. So we live in this ocean of prakriti, the resonance of the life breath of a living universe. And here at the third eye is where this universal creative energy steps down into our vehicle, steps down into our microcosm of creation. So at the third eye, this universal creative energy radiates up into the two lobes of the brain, which personify the mental plane and are the next step. So this is the fire of vision, these seeds, these ideas that inspire our life, that inspire our creation. So this mental plane seed then moves to the neck, which is a nexus, a womb. And the neck is the nucleus of our etheric body. And ether mediates between the vibrational space within and the vibrational space without. Nature and the cosmos as a fabric of vibration, and our own body as a field, a vibratory field within that. And on every level of microcosm, ether is mediating between the space without, the space within, balancing the harmony of forces without with the harmony of forces within, drawing through biological resonance, sympathetic vibration, from the forces of nature and the cosmos into our etheric body. Ether is the medium of sound. To talk about energy is to talk about vibration, is to talk about sympathetic resonance, an incredible key to the mystery. So ether is the nucleus of our sonic body, the nucleus of our etheric body, which mediates between the body of nature and the cosmos around us and our internal manifestation, and that is a vehicle for our external manifestation. So the seed moves into ether, which is mediating between external and internal forces, then to air. Air centers at the heart, to human nature, the desires and aversions which move us. Air is about movement. So we're fundamentally moved by desire and aversion. At the very heart of our spin are these desires and aversions that move us. So here's, I feel the desire and aversion that move us in our life. Then it becomes more material, like fire, our personal power, where we embody this. Water, where we give it form, we give birth to it. And then earth, where we let go of it. So the body is a personification of the creative process, how consciousness moves into manifestation. And we are a microcosm of the planes of creation and the movement from consciousness into form. Now you all understand that because you've read my book.
Yes.
Esoteric anatomy.
Excellent.
Yes, esoteric anatomy, the body as consciousness. Now, the nature of ether is unobstructed motion. The nature of ether is freedom. That our natural state is to have psychic space. Be working in the garden, feeling free, puttering around the house, feeling free. Okay? That's our nature, is that quality space that when we're just with friends, just enjoying and feeling free. Okay? Did you hear how natural freedom, harmony, unobstructed notion, that psychic space, that etheric space is very natural to us. Now when there's a threat to the vulnerable ego, when something gets in the way of that freedom, that unobstructed motion, it goes to the level from ether, space, it moves into air, movement, the mind. And the mind starts to obsess on that threat to our ego's fragile harmony. You hear that? So that whenever there's a problem, we have a disagreement with a roommate, a lover, a problem at work, the mind obsesses. And the bigger the threat to our ego structure, our fragile ego structure, the more profound the obsession. That we'll obsess for days, weeks, months, decades. We'll spend our whole life, we're in the back of our head, obsessing about some trauma where we lost a loved one, or something that really threatened the ego, or something will happen and it'll just bring us right back in that spin of obsession of something that happened decades ago. So do you hear that when there's been a threat to our freedom and the ego's fragile ability to maintain ego, it goes to the level of air, movement, embodied in the mind, looking for some measure of fire, personal power, external expression to recreate freedom and recreate that homeostasis. Looking for some measure of water, emotional safety. Water is how we give and receive love and nurturance, the connections that bind us together and create a nourishing foundation of our love, and then earth, completion. So, in our model, our nature is freedom. When there's a threat, we obsess on it. And because it's a threat, it activates the sympathetic nervous system. And the nervous system, and that's a fight or flight mechanism. So that when we obsess, it's not just mental. That when we obsess, we're sending a myriad of confused and contradictory mental and emotional impulses into the nervous system. Do you hear that? Mm-hmm. That you'll wake up from a dream and you'll feel your muscles jerking in reaction. You'll be sitting having breakfast and your muscles are, as you think about these things. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That the obsession creates these mental and emotional impulses which harden as body armoring and harden in the sympathetic nervous system, okay? That literally the heart hardens, literally the chest hardens, literally the throat hardens from first of all, sometimes it clamps down in the shock of the moment, because we are such tender, delicate, divine, we're made of divinity, we're infinite in our sentience. Sometimes a shock, but the obsession just locks it. These confused and contradictory mental and emotional impulses armor the body. And here at the water chakra, can you see how we give birth to our self-expression at the water chakra, where we feel safe to bond with others, to receive emotional and give emotional connection. It's a quality of vibration that's in our environment that when we feel open, you can swing your hips, you can dance, you're fluid. And when you're not feeling safe, you tense the water chakra, you tense your hips, and when we've been traumatized, these confused and contradictory mental and emotional impulses, see, this is meant to be, the central nervous system is where intention moves into expression. And the central nervous system moves down here through the spine, and it's here at the horse's tail, the cauda equina they call it, because all these nerves radiate out the spine and then into the iliopsoas muscles, which is meant to be a river of personal power, a river of intention for birthing your impulses into the world. So these confused and contradictory impulses contract the iliopsoas muscles, and they lock the pelvis in armoring. And that process, the perineal diaphragm is like a hammock attached to the sacrum. And this locking of the pelvis immobilizes the sacrum. So instead of resonating with fluidity, which allows the sacrum and thus the spine and the cranial sutures to resonate with the finer forces of higher intelligence, to resonate with the ocean of life around us, we become negative. This lack of mobility, we resonate with fear and contraction, negative and unconscious forces. So here's how we embody trauma, how we embody stress, how we embody fear. So Dr. Stone came to understand that the key to healing was in the mobility of the sacrum, the negative field of the brain. That regardless of the disease condition, that when you could release the holding in the perineal diaphragm and mobilize the sacrum, then the cerebral spinal fluid could begin to move again, and the cranial sutures could move, and that I've seen in my own experience that there was a turning point in people's lives when you got that sacrum moving. So there have been, there are many theories of how to do this, and classically you went out and you chopped wood, or classically you danced all night with the full moon as our way of dealing with this. Wilhelm Reich said a good orgasm was our natural way of doing this, of opening up the pelvis and moving this. But most of us aren't having the Reichian orgasm. Reich was driven out of Sweden and Denmark for sleeping with his clients, helping them have better orgasms. He was a front page news in those small countries for quite a scandalous character. But he's the father of somatics because he worked with their clients in their underwear so he could watch them breathe and so he could feel the tension in their bodies. Just that alone was considered scandalous in the 1930s. I love to tell this story. Reich was also the father of the Sexual Freedom League of the Communist Party in Germany, and very popular wing of the Communist Party. That if the Bolsheviks hadn't come in, and if he had been allowed to keep sexual freedom at the heart of the Communist Party, could have been a hell of a much more popular and successful Communist Party than the one we've been more of a party, that's for sure. And we meant party. But seriously, he had houses for children where they could grow up in sexual freedom and experimentation rather than repression. And many, many young people came to these meetings of the Communist Party with the promise of sexual freedom. Those Bolsheviks missed the boat.
Wilhelm Reich was right there too.
Yeah, Reich was in charge
Right
of
there.
this. This was Reich's work, yeah.
Yeah,
He
right
was-
there.
so after he was driven out of Germany, so we're talking here about the integrity of the sacrum as the key. Where's the right chart?